Welcome to our deep dive today.
Okay.
We'll be exploring some alternative paths in life and work,
Because fun. Yeah.
venturing off the map a little bit.
I like it.
Yeah, our guide for this exploration is Paul Millard's book, The Pathless Path.
Okay.
He's a former consultant,
Mm-hmm.
high-paid consultant who left that world to design a life that was a little more authentic to him.
Yeah. That's a pretty big move.
It is.
A lot of people just follow a script
Yeah.
without even thinking about other options.
Yeah, and he calls this the default path.
Okay.
That,
What?
familiar sequence of education, stable career, homeownership, family life,
Yeah.
the whole 9 yards.
It's ingrained in us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Societally.
And interestingly enough,
Yeah.
he traces this concept all the way back to post-World War II
Okay.
in the U.S.,
Mm-mm.
to the economic surge
Right.
that happened after the war.
Huge growth.
Huge growth.
Shaped our perception of work and success.
Yeah. And as asset manager Jim O'Shaughnessy points out,
Okay.
that period was an anomaly, right?
But people mistook it as permanent
Yeah.
and, structured their whole lives around it.
Building a life on that continuous growth can be a little precarious
For sure.
if that growth falters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And this default path
Wow.
became the yardstick
Mhm.
for success.
Sure.
And that influenced everything from individual goals to government policies.
Right.
Even President Obama cited job preservation as a reason for not enacting certain healthcare reforms.
Wow.
So
So entrenched.
it's really ingrained in us.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that this traditional 9 to 5
Mhm.
is undergoing a transformation.
For sure.
Millard notes that there's this increasing trend of these alternative workers.
Right.
Freelancers, independent consultants, people in the gig economy.
Yeah.
And research is suggesting that they are more satisfied with their work than those in traditional roles.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So if these alternative work models
Right.
can be more fulfilling.
And the concept of a job is evolving. Why are we still so tethered to this default path?
Well, Millard's personal experience offers some insights into this.
Yeah.
He thrived in consulting in academia.
Right. Very much in the thick of that.
Yeah, he was what author William Duryevich describes as a hoop jumper.
Okay.
So someone focused on achievements, but not personal fulfillment.
I see.
So constantly striving for external validation,
Yeah.
even if it leads to accolades, can leave you feeling empty
Yeah.
if it's not aligned with your true values.
It's not something you care about.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And for Millard, a health crisis became a turning point.
Okay.
He battled Lyme disease for over a year,
Wow.
and that forced him to confront his mortality and the fragility of his identity,
Right.
which was so intertwined with his work.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, and this, speaks to the concept of post-traumatic growth.
Mm-hmm.
Professors Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun
Yeah.
have researched this.
Yeah.
When faced with adversity,
Mm-hmm.
individuals often experience this shift in their values and priorities.
It changes you.
It does.
Yeah.
And so even though this was a very difficult period,
Right.
Millard's illness
Yeah.
helped him loosen the grip of this default path.
Okay.
He started creating these daily reminder lists for himself
Interesting.
to prioritize things like health and relationships,
Yeah.
fun creativity
Oh, okay.
before his career.
So intentionally reminding himself
Yeah.
of his value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like rewiring your mindset to
Mm.
focus on what truly matters.
Absolutely.
And this shift led him to experiment
Good.
with different ways of working.
Like what?
Coaching, writing,
Mm.
speaking engagements.
Okay.
Essentially, he began prototyping a new path
I like that.
while still maintaining his consulting job.
A little bit safer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, he discovered this hidden passion
Okay.
for creative work,
Mm-hmm.
something that was energizing and intrinsically rewarding,
Right.
regardless of financial gain. And this highlights that fulfilling work isn't necessarily about the job title,
Right.
but about developing a different relationship with work itself,
Yeah.
one that's aligned with your values and imbued with purpose.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah, and it seems that this exploration
Yeah.
led him to question the very notion of work itself
Okay.
and how we define ourselves by it.
I'm interested to hear where this is going.
So he came across an article by Andrew Taggart,
Okay.
who argues that we're in an age of total work,
Total work.
where work dominates our lives
Mm-hmm.
to the point where we primarily identify as workers.
Interesting.
Yeah, and this total work
Right.
implies that it permeates every aspect of our lives,
Right.
leaving little room for anything else.
Yeah, like leisure.
Right.
Or reflection or just
Yeah.
connecting with.
Right.
people.
And even though Millard had rejected corporate grind,
Yeah.
he realized he had internalized this worker identity.
Right.
feeling guilty when he wasn't being productive,
Even on his own time.
even as his own boss.
That pressure is a powerful force, even
Yeah.
for people that are,
Yeah.
trying to have balance,
Recognize.
demonstrates how pervasive the influence of society is.
Yeah, it's like we're on this treadmill. That's hard to step off of,
For sure.
even when we think we have.
Absolutely.
So to break free from this total work mindset,
Okay.
Millard chose a bold move,
What's that?
a self-designed sabbatical.
Oh.
No work, no clients.
Wow.
Just time to explore what resonated with him.
So genuine leisure,
Yeah,
not just respite from work,
Yeah.
like Joseph Piper advocates for.
exactly.
Yeah.
Did this time bring about any discoveries?
Yeah, I'm curious.
It did.
What happened?
He realized that his definition of work was far too narrow.
Okay.
He rediscovered a love for writing and podcasting,
Interesting.
activities that didn't feel like work at all.
So he stumbled upon something
Yeah.
that energized him rather than drained him. Yeah.
And this experience aligns with Tim Ferriss's concept of mini retirements,
Right.
taking these extended breaks
Mm-hmm.
from work
Mm-hmm.
to prototype different life scenarios,
I like that.
to gain clarity
Yeah.
on how you want to spend your time.
Instead of just accepting the default.
Yeah.
Right.
It's about actively shaping your life.
The beauty of those mini retirements,
Right.
that they allow you to experiment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this prototyping mindset
Mm-hmm.
can be applied to any major life decision.
Okay.
Instead of taking this giant leap of faith,
Right.
you can test the waters
Yeah.
with smaller experiments.
Gather some data.
Right.
Yeah.
And build confidence as you go.
It takes the pressure off
For sure.
of needing to have all the answers up front.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like turning life into a series of A/B tests.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great analogy.
And constantly iterating and refining
Yeah.
until you find a formula that works for you.
Mm.
And it seems that embracing a sense of wonder
Mm-hmm.
is really crucial in this process.
Right.
When we approach life with curiosity
Yeah.
and openness to new possibilities,
Yeah.
we're more likely to embrace uncertainty and take those experimental leaps.
Uncertainty is less scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Wonder
Yeah.
makes the unknown
Yeah.
feel
Like
less daunting,
Georgia.
transforming fear into excitement,
Absolute.
doubt into possibility.
It changes your perspective.
Yes,
For sure.
it's a critical shift in perspective
Yeah.
when navigating an uncharted path.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we've talked about the limitations of the default path,
Mm.
hoop
Mhm.
jumping,
Right.
the power of prototyping,
Yeah.
and mini retirements.
Right.
But how do you actually navigate this path
Yeah.
without getting completely lost?
Yeah. How do you do it? Well, finding your path experts is important.
Okay.
People a few steps ahead
Mm-hmm.
on a similar journey,
Right.
they can offer some guidance and support.
Yeah, like having a seasoned guide
Exactly.
when venturing into unfamiliar territory.
Totally.
Their experience can be so valuable,
Yeah.
to help you avoid those unnecessary pitfalls.
Yeah. And Millard really emphasizes the significance of a support network in general.
Okay,
Embarking on this kind of path can be a little isolating.
for sure.
So having people that understand and encourage you is so important.
Yeah, because not everyone will get it.
Right.
Not everyone's going to be on board.
But everyone will support it.
Yeah, and some might even think you're a little crazy.
For sure.
Millard himself faced this when he decided to relocate to Taiwan with his wife.
Okay.
He was hesitant to tell his family
Yeah.
because he was worried about their judgment.
It's scary
It is.
to go against the grain,
Yeah, and we're kind of conditioned to seek that validation,
especially from family.
especially from loved ones.
Yeah.
You know?
But open communication is key,
Yes.
even when it's difficult, to having that understanding.
Absolutely, and strengthening those relationships.
And Millard's time in Taiwan also kind of highlights another aspect of this pathless path,
What's that?
embracing a mindset of non-doing.
Non-doing.
Yeah.
So this isn't about laziness.
No. Or inaction.
Right.
This is drawing on that Chinese philosophy of Wu Wei.
Okay.
It's about cultivating a state of presence and flow,
Okay.
allowing things to unfold naturally,
Right.
not trying to control
Okay.
or force.
So surrendering to the current,
Exactly.
trusting it'll guide you,
Even when the path is a little hazy.
even when the path's not clear.
Yeah.
And Millard found that this non-doing led to a lot of insights and opportunities
That's interesting.
that he would have missed otherwise.
Yeah, because he would have been so focused on
Right.
a particular outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those aha moments.
Yeah.
Strike when we least expect them.
Right.
It could be during a nature walk.
Totally.
or letting your mind wander.
And this ties into Agnes Callard's concept of aspirational journeys,
Okay.
where individuals embark on a path, not because they know their values
Oh,
already,
right.
but to discover
And-
and cultivate new values along the way.
So setting sail
Yeah,
without a fixed destination,
totally.
trusting that that journey will shape and transform you.
It's a journey of becoming,
Yes.
not arriving.
And it requires a willingness to embrace that discomfort
Right.
and uncertainty.
Knowing that growth
Mhm.
happens outside that comfort zone.
And Millard's experience with money is a great example of this.
Tell me more.
Leaving his corporate job
Yeah.
really changed his relationship with money.
How so?
He became very aware of his
Mhm.
spending.
Okay.
He was operating from a scarcity mindset.
Makes sense.
That sudden shift
Right.
to a tight budget
Right.
after years of security can be jarring.
Yeah, you scrutinize every purchase. There's
Yeah.
a lot of pressure.
Right. And over time, he realized that this scarcity mindset was actually hindering him.
Okay.
It was preventing him from taking risks,
Well.
pursuing new opportunities.
So he shifted his focus
Yeah.
from minimizing spending
Yeah.
to creating possibilities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this shift is crucial
Okay.
for anyone breaking free,
Yeah.
from that default path.
Reframing your relationship
Yeah.
with money.
Yeah. Viewing it not as a source of anxiety,
Right.
but as a tool.
Yeah. For crafting a life of freedom
Yes.
and purpose.
Transforming it.
From a master to a servant,
Yes.
enabling rather than dictating.
Exactly.
This requires questioning those ingrained beliefs about money
Yeah.
and security,
Right.
recognizing that true wealth isn't about material possessions,
Right.
but freedom to live a life
Yes.
in line with your values.
And this freedom is often found not by pursuing wealth,
Right.
but by detaching from it.
Yeah.
Your self-worth is not determined by your net worth.
Absolutely.
It's a profound shift.
Takes courage
It does.
to embrace that risk
Yeah.
and uncertainty.
Like stepping off a cliff.
Totally.
Believing that you'll either learn to fly or land safely.
Yeah. And this brings us to creating your own culture.
Okay.
It's about consciously designing a life that reflects
Yeah.
your aspirations,
Yeah.
not passively accepting that default culture.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like constructing your own world.
Exactly.
A haven
Yeah.
where you can flourish and be your most authentic self.
Free from those pressures.
Yes.
And Miller talks about fixed points
Yeah.
in this self-created culture, like non-negotiable values and principles
Okay.
that guide your decisions.
It's like having that guiding North Star
Totally.
to ensure you stay true to your path.
Even when you're tempted to stray.
Right.
Right.
And those fixed points could include,
Yeah.
prioritizing relationships,
Mm-hmm.
pursuing creative endeavors,
Yeah.
maintaining well-being.
Contributing to a cause
Yes.
bigger than yourself.
Absolutely.
So identifying what truly matters.
Right.
And structuring your life around that.
Yeah.
Not letting external measures
Right.
dictate you.
Yeah. Having the courage
Right.
to decline opportunities
Yeah.
that look good on paper,
Right.
but maybe compromise your values
Exactly.
or lead you down a path that you don't want to go down.
Choosing that scenic route
Yes.
over the highway.
Even if it takes a little longer.
Even if it's harder.
Right.
Yeah. And this brings us to the heart of creating your own culture.
Okay.
Embracing creativity.
Creativity.
Yeah.
Often viewed as a luxury.
Right. Or just for artists.
Yeah.
Right.
But, as Millard argues,
Yeah.
it's a fundamental human need,
It is?
essential for personal growth and fulfillment
For sure.
and finding meaning in life.
Yeah, it's that spark
Yeah.
that we get when we engage in those activities
Right.
that let us express ourselves.
Whether it's through writing.
Painting,
Or dancing.
working, even conversations, even just conversations.
Yeah.
right? That are meaningful.
Yeah, and he encourages us to overcome this fear
Yeah.
of sharing our creativity with the
And
world.
we all have something to offer. We do.
Yeah.
And by expressing ourselves authentically,
Right.
we connect
Yeah.
on a deeper level. Absolutely. And contribute to a richer world.
And he highlights these words from Maria Popova,
Yeah.
who runs the website, The Margin Alien.
Yeah.
Critical thinking without hope is cynicism,
Right.
but hope without critical thinking is naivete.
Oh, I like that.
So we need both,
Yeah.
to navigate this.
The complexities of life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And create a more just and beautiful world.
Critical thinking lets us question things.
Right.
Challenge the status quo.
Mm.
Identify areas that need change.
Yeah.
But without hope,
Right.
It can become cynicism and despair.
Feeling powerless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, on the other hand,
Right.
hope without critical thinking can lead to that naivete
Right.
and failure to actually address
Yeah.
the root causes.
Thinking things will magically get better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We got to have both.
We do.
Yeah.
We have to cultivate both.
Balancing that
Yeah.
realism with optimism.
Skepticism with possibilities.
Well, and this balanced perspective
Right.
is essential
Yeah.
for what Millard calls virtuous meaning cycles.
Virtuous meaning cycles.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So these are cycles where our choices align with our values.
Yep.
And that leads to a sense of purpose and fulfillment
Right.
and a desire to give back. So
Yeah.
it's that feeling of being in flow
Yes.
where work doesn't feel like a chore.
Right.
It's an extension of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these cycles often lead to greater satisfaction,
Yeah.
resilience,
Hmm.
and a feeling of being connected to
Right.
something bigger.
To something greater than ourselves.
Yeah. They create this ripple effect, you
Yeah.
know, positively influencing us and those around us.
So it's like a positive feedback loop.
Totally.
The more we do it,
Yeah,
the better it gets.
the more fulfilling life is.
Yeah. So does Millard offer any advice
He does.
on how to cultivate these virtuous cycles?
He says to start by identifying
Okay.
what you don't want,
Okay.
your worst case scenarios,
Okay.
and work backward.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So instead of focusing on what you want,
Right.
you're focusing on what you don't want.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you figure out how to prevent those outcomes.
I like that.
Yeah,
It's kind of like using reverse psychology
it is.
Yeah.
To design a good life.
by pinpointing what you want to avoid
Right.
and then making choices to steer you away from that.
Exactly.
Okay.
By defining those non-negotiables.
Right.
We can make better decisions.
You know, establish those boundaries.
Yeah, to protect your time and energy.
Create a filter.
Yeah. For distractions.
Yeah. And he talks about adopting this long-term perspective.
Right.
You know, playing the infinite game
The infinite game.
where the goal isn't to win,
Yeah.
but to keep playing,
Keep going.
shifting from a sprint.
To a marathon.
Yes. And you need that resilience.
Right.
Because you know this path isn't always linear.
It's going to have twists and turns.
There's going to be detours,
Roadblocks.
roadblocks, setbacks.
Setbacks, yeah.
And it's in those moments
Right.
that we really reveal our strength.
Absolutely.
It's like navigating that winding river,
I love that.
you know?
Yeah.
You have to adjust to the current.
Embrace those turns.
Trust it'll all work out.
Yeah. Does he give any examples of people
He does.
that did this well?
Yeah, he talks about Mitch Albom,
Okay.
the author of Tuesdays with Morrie,
Yeah.
you know, who was a successful sports writer.
Right.
But he felt really unfulfilled.
Right.
And he reconnected with his former professor,
Okay.
Morrie Schwartz,
Mm-hmm.
who was battling ALS.
Right.
And, you know, Morrie's wisdom
Yeah.
really helped him realize
Okay.
that he was pursuing that external validation
Right.
while neglecting the things that really mattered.
The real stuff.
Yeah, and Morrie gave him this advice.
Oh, I'm curious.
If the culture doesn't work, don't buy it. Create your own.
Powerful stuff.
Isn't it?
Right? Yeah.
We don't have to conform.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, we have the power to create a culture that reflects our values.
That nourishes our spirit.
Yes.
Lets us thrive.
And this creation is ongoing.
It's always changing.
It's evolving.
It takes reflection and experimentation
And a willingness to adapt,
as we grow.
like tending a garden,
I like that.
you know, nurturing the soil,
Planting seeds,
you know,
cultivating.
making those adjustments as you go.
Yeah.
And the rewards,
Huge.
huge.
Yeah. You get a sense of ownership and purpose.
Fulfillment,
Yeah.
that the default path.
Just can't give you.
Yeah, it's about stepping into our power,
Yeah.
embracing who we are.
Living in alignment with our values.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up our deep dive
Yeah.
into the Pathless Path,
Yeah.
let's recap
Okay.
those 10 key takeaways.
10 things to remember.
Here we go.
All right, number 1, the conventional default path may not be the only route.
To fulfillment.
Yeah. Consider exploring alternative options.
That resonate with you?
Number 2, constantly hoop jumping for achievements.
Can lead to disillusionment.
If those achievements
aren't really for you.
don't align,
Yeah, ask
yeah,
yourself,
yeah.
are these my hoops?
whose hoops are you jumping through?
Exactly.
Number 3, challenges and setbacks,
Right.
while difficult, can actually be catalysts for growth,
I can.
prompting you to reevaluate and seek a more authentic path.
Forcing you to change.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Number 4, prototyping a new path through small experiments.
That's a good way to gain clarity
Yeah.
and build confidence.
Dip your toes in,
before you jump all the way.
Number 5, embracing those mini retirements
Yeah.
or extended breaks
Can give you a lot of insights.
on how you want to live.
Yeah, it's time for discovery.
Number 6, find your support network.
Your path experts.
Those people a few steps ahead.
Yeah.
Their experience can be so helpful.
Invaluable.
Number 7, shift from scarcity,
To abundance.
especially with money.
Yeah. Opens up the possibilities.
Number 8, prioritize work that is fulfilling.
And sustainable.
No more burnout.
Design a work life you love.
Number 9, express your creativity.
Even if it's small.
You never know where it might lead.
Could lead to something amazing.
And number 10,
Cultivate those virtuous meaning cycles.
where your choices
Reinforce each other.
creates purpose.
Yeah.
So as you go on your path,
Mm-hmm.
ask yourself,
That resonates with you.
what can you experiment with?
How can you be open
Yeah.
to new possibilities?
The pathless path is a way of being.
It's not a destination.
Yeah, it's exploration and growth
Crafting a life.
that reflects you.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us
Thanks for listening.
on this deep dive.
Into the pathless path.
Until next time,
Embrace exploration.
keep questioning
Keep creating.
and live the life that you're meant to live.